A tight end in every round of the NFL draft. Let's go. I think this is probably the hardest one I've done yet. We've done quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. Now we go to tight end, and it just didn't. Tight ends are hard because it feels like if you are a truly gifted tight end, you're a first or second round grade, maybe third round grade. And then after that, it just drops off big time. But we're not going to let that stop us from trying to find good developmental guys in the late rounds. So for the seventh round, what I am going to do and who I'm going to talk about is Will Mallory. He is a Miami Hurricane. I was back and forth between him and Cameron Latu. I put Latu in the sixth round. I thought that Mallory had decent production. He was a four-star tight end coming out of in the 2018 class. They originally split time. But here's the issue with him. He can run. He's got good straight line speed. He's very fast, and he should be. He's only 245 pounds, right? But here's the issue. He can't block. And so if he's going to be with the Lions, it's going to be a very specific role. So then we move into the sixth round, and we have a guy that's kind of similar, Cameron Latu. He's an Alabama Crimson Tide. And so here's what we have. He was a guy that was originally recruited to play defensive end. He played a few snaps early, but never progressed, and they moved him to tight end, which has been much more successful. And you can see it. He's 6'4", 240. His ability to change direction on the fly was really, really good. It was really, really good. And he's a guy that has been good. He had 12 touchdowns over the last 2 years. That's good. Here's the problem. Again, it's going to be hard for blocking. I'm not saying he was a bad blocker, but at his size, what does it look like? But even with that being said, one of his pros is he's an under control run blocker with strong hands. So that's good. And it makes sense that he would have good hands because he played on the line, just on the other side of the line. Okay. So now let's go into our fifth round. I'm trying to get through these backgrounds a little faster. Zach Koontz out of Old Dominion. This guy is hard to gauge. He's 6'7", 255 pounds, but he played for Old Dominion. So he looked completely dominant at times against just not good of competition. And he's only got 1 full year of playing time. And that 1 full year of playing time came against not good competition. This is a developmental tight end at its peak, but he was very good. He has a thin frame and he gets bullied as a run blocker because of it. So those are some of the struggles. And then fourth round, we have Brenton Strange. So Brenton Strange, this is kind of interesting to me, or should I say strange? I'm sorry, this is me being dumb. He was Penn State. Okay, so he's a Penn State guy, 4-star recruit. Became a starter's redshirt freshman year. He's 6'4", 253 pounds. He does things well. He catches the ball pretty well. Here's the thing. He can block. And this is what's strange. From his sophomore year to his junior year, he became a much better receiving tight end and was in the game way more often to be a pass catching threat. However, his run block grade significantly dropped. I thought that was interesting. So I think what you have there is a guy who, when he puts it all together, he could be a good tight end. And that's why, even though, again, we're in the late round, so nobody's perfect, the fact that he's shown the ability to do both is why I have him in the fourth round instead of the fifth or sixth, and why I put him a little bit further up. So third round, I have a darling that I like in the third round. And this is the first time where if we drafted a guy, I'd be like, okay, I'm good with that. And it's Luke Schoonmaker out of Michigan. Now, I got to watch him a lot because I watch all the Michigan games. And here's what you see out of him. You see a guy who's like, nah, he shouldn't be very good catching the ball. He shouldn't be a great route runner or anything like that. But he just keeps getting open. Like, he just kept getting open and he kept catching the ball over and over again. No, he's not going to be just this ridiculous player. But I think what he could be is an upgrade to what we currently have at tight end. He's just a little bit better. than what we have. He also is a good run blocker. He's 6'6", 250, but he has a really thick build. So you look at him and you're like, oh my goodness, like he's gonna be good. And it's just surprising how many headaches he gives the defense in the intermediate passing game. It doesn't seem like he should, but he does. And it was against good competition in the Big Ten. So you have to give him a little bit of something. All right. Now we are getting into the big stuff. Second round, I'm saying second round. I don't think he'll be there when the Lions pick at, what is it, 48? But man, I hope he would. And if not, if we trade up for him, that's fine too. And it is Darnell Washington out of Georgia. Here's the question I have about Darnell Washington. Do we think that he is a first round tight end in Detroit because he fits what Detroit does with tight ends? Or is he really that good? Yes, he has skill. He's 6'7", he's 270 pounds, and he can catch the football. And he is going, but here's the deal. Do NFL teams see him as a real pass catching threat in the NFL, or they just see him as a phenomenal blocking tight end that is basically like bringing in a third tackle? I just get excited thinking about it because when you watch Ben Johnson's offense, the amount of times that he brought in a third tackle and you knew we were going to run it, but people couldn't stop it. Imagine if you don't have to bring in a third tackle. Like, imagine if it's just keep Darnell Washington on the field because now he's a passing threat and he can run block almost as good as a third tackle. How phenomenal would that be? How phenomenal would that be? Like, this is a guy, I have him for a second round, but there is no tight end I'd rather have. There's no tight end I'd rather have. There is one tight end that I might rather have, and it is Michael Mayer. And he is a guy that has similar size. He's 265. He's not going to be a burner or get away from anyone. But the difference between Michael Mayer and Darnell Washington is Washington, you just look at just the athletic freak that he is, and you think to yourself, maybe he has a higher ceiling, while Michael Mayer has just consistently outperformed. Like, he just has outproduced Darnell Washington. So these are the two guys that are the perfect fit for the Detroit Lions. And then when you look at Michael Mayer and everything that he can do, his size, his speed, his catching ability, you move to that's a first round grade. You move to the third round. Luke Schoonmaker is like, he's just like Michael Mayer, light. I like to say light, or Spartan brand Michael Mayer. And sometimes it tastes just as good. If you go to Meyer, Fred Meyer's big thing is the Meyer brand has to be as good or better. So maybe Schoonmaker can be Meyer brand Michael Mayer. That's a bad joke. So anyways, hey, tight ends, are we going to draft one? I don't know. Our tight end room isn't good, but we sure as heck may do the second half of the year with it and actually did well. But it wouldn't be a bad place to get a talent upgrade. But don't forget, James Mitchell, coming off the torn ACL, that's a guy that last year, if he didn't tear his ACL, he would be sitting in that third round grade. So I'm really excited to see what he can do now that he's been there for a little bit as well. All right, don't forget, watch the draft with us April 27th. Hit a comment below. What tight end do you like the most? And on your way down there, hit that subscribe button. See ya.